Said the grand plan made her do it, huh? Jeez, kinda preachy. Keep it in the monastery, lady.
What's with all the landmines your corporatism littered about? Pretty sloppy style of warfare, if you ask me.
Can't say I care for the mines either, but it's simple math. Mines don't need to sign a contract. Don't got bellies to feed. They cost a damn sight less than troops.
Suppose collateral damage don't mean much to Andy. Personally, I spy a mine, I'm unloading from 40 paces.
Or you can walk around them. But maybe that's just me. It's drilled into us not to waste ammo or ordnance. Go ahead and blast them if you want. I ain't stopping you.
Oh, eu só Gotcha. Kolay gelsin.
Yeah.
I guess I got this one too. Right, just press location.
At least coming out to spot folk might hear me. It's easy work.
Okay, this one I definitely missed.
okie, Commander. Just say when.
Can't spell heinous ascetic without anti.
And this whole capitalism thing isn't so dreadful after all. They even allowed me a choice between fishing and sanitary engineering.
That's far more freedom than we were ever offered while living there.
Also, brace yourself for this. Can you believe we receive pay, that is to say, monetary remuneration for our work?
What a novel concept. And we receive 2 rest days a year, which are also paid. We'll be compensated for doing literally nothing. I believe it's called a
Here to do some fishing?
Hello. You must be a new, co-worker. No. My mistake. You're obviously just passing through.
Here's a little number to get your feet tapping and your mind meditating on
There we go. Attack of the giant giant ants. Okay.
This unit's current work task takes priority over conversation. Farewell.
just any choice when you could choose Auntie's choice?
Greetings. Something new to report? Oh, allow me. They all look to be no less worse for wear. Splendid. Much obliged. For completing the set, I present to you the rarest rarities available to me. I must say, this exchange of goods and services has been quite satisfying. How novel. Take good care, outsider.
Plausible adventures. I guess we can return to the ship. Be off to the golden Now I need to change the title of my stream because we're leaving Paradise Island.
Is fundamentally rooted in statistical mathematics. Statistics, at its heart, is not but data. Data that is gathered, collated, and subjected to analysis. Chance in that analysis.
Damn, what was that? There ain't been active fighting here in, I don't even know how long. If one of them got hit, then that strike will be the first of many.
Or tails, 1 in 2 chance. But are there really 2 outcomes? Is there not one specific outcome we can determine? Yes. With complete information, there can be no chance. Only outcome. Complete information yields perfect predictions. 100% accuracy. Known outcomes. Now we come to one of the most difficult concepts in the Order for initiates to grasp. If the result of the flip of a coin is known to be heads, is it necessary to flip the coin? Would it not be more efficient to simply go forward as if it had been flipped and proceed with whatever action that flip was intended to choose? If so, what part of that choice was ever left to chance? The answer, of course, is none. Only when there is less than complete information are we reduced to chance. At present, we do not have complete information. Instead, we are still forced to deal in probabilities, expected values, and standard deviations, which lead to the dreaded sigma of probability distributions. By necessity, we are forced to estimate outcomes based on assumed distributions of sample populations. Such travesty. No, not a travesty. Tragedy. A horror. A horror the Archive will help us avoid.
Stay vigilant. Report any suspicious activity to your nearest station warden.
Analyzed and input by our archivists brings us closer to our goal. To the solving of the universal equation. Probability is not enough.
This station sure gone to scrap since last I stepped. Don't think we'll be hitching a ride anywhere quick.
Leads to inaccurate predictions, which lead to tragedies. We must not guess. We must know. Help us know. Contribute any and all data you can collect to our proud archivists. And you too can say you contributed to the archive.
This is your 2061st reminder to keep all personal items with you at all
The
times.
song was odd because it is the number 3 song this week. And now, more music to perform advanced calculations by.
The plan can wait. Our lines will not. Good subjects arrive 15 minutes early to avoid missing their tram. Thank you for picking up your personal belongings. We must all work together to keep Golden Ridge beautiful. Your patience is commendable, passenger. Please continue waiting quietly until the next tram arrives.
button.
Impossible to decrease. Caught in a catalyst leading to combustion. Stuck in entropy from chaos to decomposition of this fatal attraction. This fatal attraction. This fatal attraction.
You are listening to Grand Plan Wireless, Arcadia's voice of reason. Questions, questions, questions. Today we have 3 questions for our youth-adjacent layperson liaison, Vicar Magsaysay, in this installment of Vicar. First up in our trilogy of queries, I am currently working as a statistical analyzer, but I feel I've missed my calling as an analytical statistician. How might I switch careers?
I receive such queries regularly. Based on a method known as merged spline interpolation, one solution would be to engage in both professions. Just be careful to avoid Runge's phenomenon of convergent oscillation. But of course, you already know how to circumvent such a simple polynomial degeneracy. Good luck. Lost speed.
Second query, should I have another offspring? I already have 2 of them.
Your answer requires more elaborate mathematics than I can perform in the moment, but here's a general calculation based on the desired procreation rate of 2.3 offspring per couple. Calculate the sum of the children in the first 5 couples that live to your left, and add to it the sum of the children in the first 5 couples that live to your right. If this total sum is less than 23, you should have another child. If the sum is greater than 23, you should not have another child. If the sum is exactly 23, you should move to a new neighborhood and repeat the experiment. Next query.
Final question for the vicar. Do these pantaloons make my posterior look overly substantial?
No, those pantaloons do not appear as a term in the antecedent of that statement. Instead, other terms are leading to the validity of that assertion. Thank you for listening. If you're feeling anxious about what's next, just wait. Things to come have a way of constantly happening. The future is colliding with the present every moment.
Avid followers of our predictive playlists are already aware of which song follows.
That piece looks different from the others. If it's an original, we ought to take it with us. You know, for safekeeping.
Like the one I just took? A little bit behind them, yes.
Subjects arrive 15 minutes early to avoid missing their tram.
Can be cold, but academia's always true.
Why use double entendres when sextuple ones will do?
You taught me scientismic ways, even Sears did not foresee.
2 heavenly bodies never at rest.
Shot by fluids to 100 degrees Celsius. collaboration. I can count on you, you can count on me.
We're the golden ratio,
Geometric harmony. When our theories are challenged,
when we stare down peer review.
you can count on me, and I can count on you.
Broadcasting cognitive resonance across Arcadia, this is Grand Plan Wireless. Because reason never goes out of season, it's time for another administration of Relatable Enlightenment with Ask a Vicar, featuring Vicar Magsaysay. Today we focus on quantity over qualitative analysis with an accelerated round of brief layperson inquiries, starting with, does the Order know the outcome of this war?
Of course we do. But such knowledge cannot be shared with the general public or broadcast over the aether. Such an action would shift the equation into new modes. It might introduce ancillary expressions that would invalidate our original solution. The mention of these topics risks catastrophic, indeterminative discontinuity. Let's move on.
A listener asks, can I learn how to make predictions about my own life?
A less calamitous query. In no uncertain terms, you must never calculate your own personal life equation. The equation necessarily requires bijective isometry. Such a class of parametric mappings must be made by an objective third-party order member to assure non-arbitrary orthogonality. Make an appointment at your nearest predictory as soon as possible. Any more questions?
Yes, Vicar. Because research shows the listener attention falters after a series of 3 items, here's our third and final question. My canid ran away. Where did she go?
She's dead. Okay, great query and answer session, everyone. As your plain-speaking, relatable vicar, I'm always happy to fill your day with 2.5% more practical knowledge.
Keep put. Much is left to come. This popular number has been conclusively proven to promote cognitive function.
The color of space, a chromospectral analysis. When asked about the average color of space, the famous stellar cartographer Newton Otisgard replied, with no hesitation, beige. To experienced lumen astronomers, his answer was the expected one. But I can already hear the obtuse listener bleating, with their faces contorted into a rictus of ignorance. Wouldn't the average color be black or white, or simply a shade of gray? No. No, it would not. The answer is rooted in the science of how hot objects absorb and emit light, which answers the ancillary mystery of why there are no green stars. To understand all this, you must understand the basics.
Looks like folks hold up here after the fighting started. Guess not everybody was eager to take sides.
Absorbs most electromagnetic.
Day 206. Morale? Low. Condition? Feeble. Outermech. Watching. Always watching. Many have left for Matriarch's mercy, seeking refuge with the Order. The fools. Can't they see the Order is no different from the Protectorate? The Order won't...
Incessant muttering to oneself may disturb fellow passengers. Further conduct violations may warrant notification of the Sentinels.
Try it, you doddering rattletrap. Such threats compel me no longer. I now answer to no one. I've seen through the lies of both sides. In time, Everyone will.
Unwarranted optimism may be a sign of a more serious imbalance. Please see a curativist before boarding.
As the stellar body's temperature increases, its emitted light shifts up into visible light, through red, into orange, then yellow, then white. Even rare blue stars exist. These are the hottest stars, mostly blue and invisible ultraviolet light. So why are there no green stars, you wonder? I would think the listeners could easily draw this trivial conclusion for themselves. But if
We got an appointment to keep at Matriarch's Mercy. Let's just hope we don't get shelled too.
Also emits bluish and/or reddish light too, resulting in a non-green star. There is no naturally occurring stellar composition that emits solely packets of green light. In fact, such a composition itself would constitute evidence for intelligent interference, and no such evidence of any kind has ever been detected. Let's get back to Newton Odescard, the famous stellar cartographer. The methodology of the Odescard's chromospectral survey was straightforward. He partitioned his astronomical field of view into grids, then tagged each object with a grid. He ignored empty regions, as black would only dim the color and not change its fundamental hue. The light from every galaxy, star, nebula, and quasar was gathered and fed into a central tabulator for computation. Subsequent spectral analysis produced a final answer to within 0.5% of the predicted value. And that result was beige. More specifically, in the cylindrical coordinate model of color space, the hue is 42 degrees, while the saturation is a mere 9%, and the value is over 100.
Let me know when you need a stretch.
In more novice terms, while the color tends towards white, the addition of a variety of reds and some blues results in a more beige tone. And there you have it. So go ahead, Neophyte. As you study your lessons, stare at nondescript walls, library, classroom, or dormitory facility, and exult in the knowledge that beige...
Go ahead. Commander, you're bleeding.
You have tuned your receiver to Grand.
Restart that from where I saved.
While the saturation is a mere 9%, and the value is a full 100%. In more novice terms, while the color tends towards white, the addition of a variety of reds and some blues results in a more beige tone. And there you have it. So go forth, neophytes, and as you study your lessons, stare at or dormitory facility, and exult in the knowledge that beige, also the color of the hue.
Grand Plan Wireless.
Got troublemakers.
Beat the beaters! The train is
Little pick-me-up for ya. All darked up.
Narrative lives do not, shall we say, endure pains uncommon.
Pick me up. I do it for you. That's enough of that.
Nor did his associations with entities outside academia, which do not always
Back in
benefit
business.
scientists.
Refilling my weapon.
Knew you had my back.
Knows everything yet. Have another inquiry about our order you're bursting to ask? Relay your query at the post. Keep put. Much is left to come. And now a song from a composer predicted to have 3 well-liked melodies and become allergic to water this year. Verify before we amplify. Drink Maxima alcohol-free liquor.
The other brands may be 80 proof, but ours has 80 proofs. One printed on each label. Collect and study them all.
From the Order of the Ascendant. Ever bear in mind, we are molecular machines. Our bodies a tuft of atoms, our minds a result of chemical reactions, our lives predestined along paths clear only in retrospect. Avid followers of our predictive playlists are already aware of which song follows. Interested in receiving our weekly selection of mathematical clues? Visit your local predictory. Structurally compelling yet categorically voracious statements regarding products researched and designed to increase energy, efficiency, creativity, and focus.
Make your desired outcome be a probabilistic certainty with Pinnacle Vegetable Expulsions.
You enjoyed our casts. Now try our expulsions from the Order of the Ascendant. A roguish comical remark discovered upon a chalkboard. Anti's Choice and the Protectorate both count very little. The Order of the Ascendant counts the most. This popular number has been conclusively proven to promote cognitive function.
Probability and the grand plan. There can be no discussion of the grand plan without also entertaining a deep contemplation of probability. Our ability to predict events to varying degrees of certainty is fundamentally rooted in statistical mathematics. Statistics, at its heart, is not but data. Data that is gathered, collated, and subjected to analysis. But what is the role of chance in that analysis? Let's look at the interpretation of pure chance. If one flips a perfectly balanced coin, It will land on heads with a 1 in 2 chance, or tails with a 1 in 2 chance. But are there really 2 outcomes? Is there not one specific outcome we can determine? Yes. With complete information, there can be no chance. Only outcome. Complete information yields perfect predictions. 100% accuracy. Known outcomes. Now we come to one of the most difficult concepts in the Order for initiates to grasp. If the result of the flip of a coin is known to be heads, is it necessary to flip the coin? Would it not be more efficient to simply go forward as if it had been flipped, and proceed with whatever action that flip was intended to choose? If so, what part of that choice was ever left to chance? The answer, of course, is none. Only when there is less than complete information are we reduced to chance. At present, we do not have complete information. Instead, we are still forced to deal in probabilities, expected values, and standard deviations, which lead to the dreaded sigma of probability distributions. By necessity, we are forced to estimate outcomes based on assumed distributions of sample populations. Such a travesty.
I'm gonna try this. I don't think I'm gonna be able to make a jump across here.
No, not a travesty. Tragedy. A horror. A horror the archive will help us avoid. Every bit of data collected, analyzed,
Now,
and input
I may
by
not get
our
back.
archivists brings us closer to our goal. To the solving of the universal equation. Probability is not enough. Guesses are not enough. Incomplete information leads to inaccurate predictions, which lead to tragedies. We must not guess. We must know. Help us know. Contribute any and all data you can collect to our proud archivists. And you too can say you contributed to the archive.
This is Grand Plan Wireless, broadcasting soothing tunes for your audio canal and enriching content for your cerebral cortex around Dromedary until we achieve ascension. For those of you away in the field or heads down in research during our last shared learning symposium, we offer the following rescreening of Vicar Magsaysay's presentation.
Welcome to Zeranium and You, a brief accounting of this crucial material. Though minute amounts were first discovered in the Beta Draconis system, Zeranium wasn't found in significant quantities until the terraforming of Cloister and Eden, since it's become the principal power source for all recognized inhabitants of the system. But it's not without its dangers, and lower risk, efficient utilization took time. Zeranium in its liquid state is volatile and explosive. In its gaseous form, it is toxiferous to organic material. But in its crystal state, it's practically putty in our hands. Not fully safe, of course. You wouldn't sprinkle Zeranium crystals on your nutrient bars. They won't kill you on immediate contact. Certainly more harvestable in our Zeranium manufactory. Imagine years of jeopardous methodological experiments with extraction, refinement, and processing, from the harvesting of liquid Zeranium to grinding of crystals for higher yields. Now, Zeranium powers everything from laboratories and outposts to craft and weaponry, comparatively safely, and at a greater input-to-output ratio than any other known form of fuel. In closing, a potentially incongruent word of advice. Invariably find a way to turn your negatives into positives.
Continuing as predetermined. And now, more music to perform advanced calculations.
Okay, so this was worth finding our way over. It handles like a mathematically sound dream. Mercy doesn't do much in the way of damage.
This fatal attraction. Did we ever find a perfect calculation? Were we destined to a faulty form of passion? When we talked about the role of oxygen, you broke my heart when you countered that with phlogiston.
Ooh, that's pretty nice.
In our dynamic process, it never remained constant. It was impossible to decrease. Caught in a catalyst, leading to combustion. Stuck in entropy, from chaos to decomposition of this fatal attraction. This fatal attraction.
Hey, got a new pet.
That was dedicated to all the innovative minds of the Department of Applied Scientism from their admiring cohort in the Department of Research and
Hope you're settling into the cognitive. You got everything you need?
Almost. Ever thought about bringing an Auntie's Choice vending machine on board? I ain't all that agreeable if I'm without my snacks.
I've got to introduce you to this novel appliance, name of a refrigerator. You can store and draw from it without ever paying a bit.
Everyone knows a morsel tastes that much sweeter if you gotta pay a premium for it.
Things become complicated. Went to school and studied, then matriculated. There's no need to suffer from perplexity. In the
Secretive elder.
of a source of large complexity. Complexity is partially imaginable.
Damn this dust! Stay back! Oh, wait. You aren't one of those damn scrappers. Apologies, stranger. These eyes don't see as well as they used to. Perhaps it was fate you met me here. A capable sort like you is akin to an oasis in a hellish wasteland. So might you be willing to help an old injured man with a simple task? I was injured attempting to scale that cliff face to the estate. Wouldn't do to have a fresh wound out in the open, where anything might happen upon me. So I hunkered down here. See, I came here to salvage my, memoir manuscripts. I left some files behind when I fled the estate after the war broke out. Tragic, yes, but what else was an old man to do? If you're keen to help, one file's in a locker in the tram station. The other's in the mansion, in the late vigilance quarters. Simple to collect, once you get past the scrappers. Why? Because she was an avid reader, enamored with the tales of the brave and the brilliant. I was a close advisor, see? And once she learned of my writings, she couldn't resist taking an exclusive first look. Bless her. Oh, bless your kindly nature. Do return promptly should you happen upon those, scribblings of mine.
Guess I think we all know that he's not what he says he is.
Traveling at the velocity of light through the vacuum of space on our primary band, this is Grand Plan Wireless, the informed, sourced, peer-reviewed sound of scientism. Though our current cordiality with Answer's Choice continues to hold, remain certain that every department stands and ready should conflict recommence. Why, simply
Horrid lock back. Best get Adrenatime for it.
By our Sears technology combined with the deft skills of our exemplars. This keen partnership not only forced our rapacious rivals to drop supplies from high orbit, it sent their ground troops scampering into scattered lines of hastily dug trenches. So much for their baseless conjecture that bookish theoreticians, a tidier paraphrasing of their colorful invective, couldn't hold their own on the battlefield.
End message with an emphatic sign-off such as, "You'll never be sad when you have solutions." Oh, that apparently was a note to self, not to be read aloud.
Further beneficial content soon follows. Next up, well, the seers among you already know.
1, 2, 3, 5, 8. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Function f to the n equaling our starting zen. Function fn minus 1 plus the fn minus 2. In all cases that we know, starting where n is so low. Now you know just what to do. Start the cycle, here's the cue. It's Fibonacci, a sequence largely summing to preceding numbers, gives us math that brings us wonders. Define the recurrence relation, get us to sequence summation. It's Fibonacci from Liber Abaci.
Never heard a song about the Fibonacci sequence before.
8. Gazing upon the golden spiral, a part that's quite so vital, arcing in a circle motion, giving squares to perfect quotient. 0, 1, 1, and again 2, 3, 5, and 8, and then 13, 21, not 2, 34, we're counting through. It's Fibonacci, a sequence largely summing to preceding numbers, gives us math that brings us wonders. Define the recurrence relation. Get us to sequence summation. It's Fibonacci. From Liber of Aasi.
Better keep my lamp open.
The Fibonacci sequence is a sequence in which each number is the sum of the two preceding.
Time to earn my commission.
and so on and so forth. It's Fibonacci, a sequence largely summing to preceding numbers that brings us wonders. Define the recurrence relation, get us to sequence summation, summing to preceding numbers, gives us math that brings us wonders. Define the recurrence relation, get us to sequence summation. It's Fibonacci from Liber of Aasi.
Broadcasting cognitive resonance across Arcadia, this is Grand Plan Wireless. Until we in the Order solve the universal equation, we won't have all the answers, but for now, Vicar Magsaysay has most of them. Go on, ask a vicar. A listener asks, how does prediction work? Well, the intricacies are much too complex for the layperson to grasp, but that's hardly a satisfying answer. Trust Vicar Magsaysay for a fathomable description that even the shallowest minded among you might absorb.
Always happy to illuminate. We start with a person's life equation, as determined from the extensive questionnaire they filled out at their nearest predictory. Then, we perform a standard surface integration of the equation, leading, of course, to the production of an undetermined constant. But by using a single data point from their life event list, we can assign a value to that constant, leading to a simple-to-use, simple-to-understand life prediction equation. We can use additional points to not only validate our model, but also to improve its predictive accuracy. And we can use the resulting integration to predict future life events. And there you go. I knew you'd understand. In fact, I predicted it. Until next time, keep your queries coming. If you're feeling anxious about what's next, just wait. Things to come have a way of constantly happening. The future is colliding with the present every moment.
Warning, the following song mentions some actions that are improper, something your fractions should never be.
Take care not to slip. A fall from that height wouldn't be pretty.
Reloading so I can
to the future.
Grass raring to go.
No more hiding.
Ask a vicar. Vicar a recent inquiry. Why do I hear
You hog all the adrena time.
denouncing anti-choice rampant commercials?
Good question. This is the place we differ from consumers. Or philosophy. In our case, others essentially right. Hardly be more dissimilar.
Do you have an inquiry about our order you're bursting to ask? Drop us a message at your local predictory.
Let's get rid of these fools so we can enjoy the view.
The following song has been designed to facilitate abstract thinking and constructive knowledge. before we amplify.
Ready to take the heat off you, Commander. Just stay with.
Grand plan. Understand. And now a song from the composer predicted.
Not getting up without help, Commander.
Shit. Where's it gonna take me back to? Cause I didn't say when I shoulda.
Explain. An isosceles right triangle. The smaller sides are measured both at once. The length of the longest side then cannot fully be expressed by anyone. Are there any numbers you can name us? Are there any numbers that are famous? The ratio known as golden. It is written as the Greek letter pi. From the Fibonacci set beholden to the number known as pi is a worldwide phenomenon. Attempt to square a circle and you'll need it. Don't confuse it with its homonym sibling. It's a number you cannot hear. What's a number that has no ending? A number that we call a mathematics man named Euler. His work was that of genius and astounding. His number you see as a lowercase e to calculate with interest compounding. These numbers are so monumental. They're also known as transcendental.
Got troublemaker. And I'll take care of him, Commander.
You have tuned your receiver to Grand Plan Wireless. We verify before we amplify.
Not walking this off. Stand me back up.
Oh.
Probability and contemplation of probability. Our ability to predict events with varying degrees of certainty. Statistics, at heart, is not but data. Data that But what is the role of chance in that analysis?
Knew you had
Let's
my
look
back.
at the interpretation of pure chance. If If one flips a perfectly balanced coin, it will land on heads with a 1 in 2 chance, or tails with a 1 in 2 chance. But are there really 2 outcomes? Is there not one specific outcome we can determine? Yes. With complete information, there can be no chance, only outcome. Complete information yields perfect predictions, 100% accuracy, known outcomes. Now we come to one of the most difficult concepts in the Order for initiates to grasp. If the result of the flip of a coin is known to be heads, is it necessary to flip the coin? Would it not be more efficient to simply go forward as if it had been flipped, and proceed with whatever action that flip was intended to choose? If so, what part of that choice was ever left to chance? The answer, of course, is none. Only when there is less than complete information are we reduced to chance. At present, we do not have complete information. Instead, we are still forced to deal in probabilities, expected values, and standard deviations, which lead to the dreaded sigma of probability distributions. By necessity, we are forced to estimate outcomes based on assumed distributions of sample populations. Such a travesty. No, not a travesty. A tragedy. A horror. A horror the Archive will help us avoid. Every bit of data collected, analyzed, and input by our archivists brings us closer to our goal, to the solving of the universal equation. Probability is not enough. Guesses are not enough. Incomplete information leads to inaccurate predictions, which lead to tragedies. We must not guess. We must know. Help us know. Contribute any and all data you can collect to our proud archivists. And you too can say you contributed to the Archive.
This is Grand Plan Wireless, broadcasting soothing tunes for your audio canal and enriching content for your cerebral cortex around the chronometer until we achieve ascension. Though our current cordiality with Auntie's Choice continues to hold, remain certain that every department stands united and ready should conflict recommence. Why, simply recall the precision of our air defenses against low-flying craft, augmented by our Sears technology combined with the deft skills of our exemplars. This keen partnership not only forced our rapacious rivals to drop supplies from high orbit, it sent their ground troops scampering into scattered lines of hastily dug trenches. So much for their baseless conjecture that bookish theoreticians, a tidier paraphrasing of their colorful invective, couldn't hold their own on the battlefield.
End message with an emphatic sign-off such as, "You'll never be sad when you have solutions." Oh, that apparently was a note to self, not to be read aloud.
And now, additional data and/or music determined to facilitate cognition. And now, a song from a composer predicted to have 3 well-liked melodies and become allergic to water this year.
Do not worry when things become complicated. You went to school and studied, then matriculated. There's no need to suffer from perplexity in the face of a source of large complexity. Complexity is partially imaginary. No need for fear, the concept isn't very scary. Complexity is partially imaginary. You can handle it if you stay very wary. We have tools to tame high-order equations. They are useful in problematic occasions.
When even scavengers are falling on hard times, you know the situation is dire.
Take the formulas derivative, or use square roots of numbers that are negative. Complexity is partially imaginary. Commander. No need to fear. The concept
Appreciate a little help, Commander.
Damn. Got close.
are negative. Complexity is
Ready to wait. On your command.
The concept isn't very scary. Complexity is partially
Buddy, can you spare the train of time?
Structurally compelling yet categorically veracious statements regarding products researched and designed to increase energy, efficiency, creativity, and focus.
Eat complex food bars. Every real bar is packaged with an imaginary piece for you to enjoy later.
From the In times of peril, remind yourself, contentment is found by accepting your role in the grand plan. Understanding your place, knowing your course, removes all worry and doubt. This popular number has been conclusively proven to promote cognitive function.
In ancient times we learned of their existence.
according to Grand Plan Wireless, our Queen's voice of reason. You have questions, Vicar Magsaysay has informed answers, as evidenced by another installment of Ask a Vicar. A listener asks, why am I so bored? I am always bored. In fact, I'm bored now.
An honest question begging for an honest answer. Numerous studies have shown that boredom is inversely proportional to intelligence. Normally, I would suggest a variety of mathematical puzzles and problems to increase your profundication, but I don't see that as the best solution in your case. Instead, I recommend the following. Purchase a small rubber ball and learn to bounce it. Best of luck to you.
Keep put, much is left to come. And now, more music to perform advanced calculations by.
Kelvin, if truth be told. Scientism is a lonely field, research double-blind. The very fact we found each other boggles the undisciplined mind. I can count on you, you can count on me. With a golden ratio, geometric harmony, when our theories are challenged. You can count on me, and I can count on you. Colleagues can be cold, but academia's always.
Sure, it's pretty now, but have we considered what it might look like on fire?
You taught me scientismic ways, even since did not foresee. Two heavenly bodies never had pressure, but fluids to 100 degrees.
Motley helm for this motley crew.
Don't like it. These strangers. Should rip them out, shatter them, transfer them with ourselves.
Yes, yes! Grab an order glass scrawler next outing. They'll display us in the standing before we cut them up.
Ask a Vicar with Vicar Magsaysay. Oh, here's a question from a new pupil, freshly converted from anti his choice. Did presiding Bishop Ruth Bassar
Got my lamps on a hawk.
person?
Wonderful. I do enjoy educating the uneducated. The succinct answer is
Whoa,
no.
2,000?
Our presiding bishop never met the matriarch, but let's look at all she has done. Over the course of
Yeah,
her
they're both at
decades
level
as
2,000.
presiding bishop, Ruth Bassar
We
has
might want
added
to wait
more
just a little bit before we screw with them.
matriarch. She has determined
Come on.
derivatives at multiple points along that function, obtaining a Maclaurin series with a convergent approximation beyond any previous sequence. Our infallible presiding bishop has approached an error dispersion exceeding 5 sigma, a level of calculation superior to all bishops before her. Cite her theses with confidence. That did not save your curiosity. By all means, inquire again and again with abandon. I, Vicar Mog Sai will be happy to enlighten all who will listen.
Stay tuned for what follows. And now a song from a composer predicted to have 3 well-liked melodies and become allergic to water this year.
Hey Glass, how's it going? Sorry, I just saw you there. Let's take a peek over this way.
One thing about Arcadians is they know how to build. Back on Tassetti, all we had was a minecart to push each other around with.
Way down shore, but you won't be getting back up.
You don't know. I could have a Kangaroo Lake perk.
This fatal attraction. This fatal attraction. This fatal attraction.
This is Grand Plan Wireless, broadcasting soothing tunes through your audio canal and enriching content for your cerebral cortex around the chronometer until we achieve ascension. Though our current cordiality with Auntie's Choice continues to hold, remain certain that every department stands united and ready should conflict recommence. Why, simply recall the precision of our air defenses against low-flying craft, augmented by our Sears technology combined with the deft skills of our exemplars. This keen partnership not only forced our rapacious rivals to drop supplies from high orbit, it sent their ground troops scampering into scattered lines of hastily dug trenches. So much for their baseless conjecture that bookish theoreticians, a tidier paraphrasing of their colorful invective, couldn't hold their own on the battlefield.
End message with an emphatic sign-off such as, "You'll never be sad when you have solutions." That apparently was a note to self, not to be read aloud.
Further beneficial content soon follows. Next up, well, the seers among you already know.
Probability and the grand plan. There can be no discussion of the grand plan without also entertaining a deep contemplation of probability. Our ability to predict events to varying degrees of certainty is fundamentally rooted in statistical mathematics. Statistics, at heart, is not but data. Data that is gathered, collated, and subjected to analysis.
I honestly don't remember how I came up here.
What is the role of chance in that analysis? Let's look at the interpretation of pure chance. If one flips a perfectly balanced coin, it will land on heads with a 1 in 2 chance, or tails with a 1 in 2 chance. But are there really 2 outcomes? Is there not one specific outcome we can determine? Yes. With complete information, there can be no chance, only outcome. Complete information yields perfect predictions, 100% accuracy, known outcomes. Now we come to one of the most difficult concepts in the Order for initiates to grasp. If the result of the flip of a coin is known to be heads, is it necessary to flip the coin? Would it not be more efficient to simply go forward as if it had been flipped and proceed with whatever action that flip was intended to choose?
Trying to go back the way I came.
What part of that choice was ever left to chance? The answer, of course, is none.
Okay.
Only when there is less than complete information are we reduced to chance. At present, we do not have complete information. Instead, we are still forced to deal in probabilities, expected values, and standard deviations, which lead to the dreaded sigma of probability distributions. By necessity, we are forced to estimate outcomes based on assumed distributions of sample populations. Such a travesty. No, not a travesty, a tragedy. A horror. A horror the Archive will help us avoid. Every bit of data collected, analyzed, and input by our archivists brings us closer to our goal. To the solving of the universal equation. Probability is not enough. Guesses are not enough. Incomplete information leads to inaccurate predictions, which lead to tragedies. We must not guess. We must know. Help us know. Contribute any and all data you can collect to our proud archivists. And you too can say you contributed to the Archive.
This melodious little ditty was dedicated to novice Gertrude Power. Your nominate admirer has taken great interest in your figure work and projections.
The following song has been determined to facilitate abstract thinking and constructive rumination.
Because it's not water. I think that's liquid as uranium. That's not gonna get me there. Yep. Yep. It's uranium poisoning.
Doesn't take too long, does it?
No. You hit the liquid, it's immediate. Easiest way to get around this.
It's both clear and ambivalent. Love does not compute.
Just fast travel back to the station. Why is a refugee coming up? I'll do this real quick.
Please, somebody help us! Anybody, please! Finally, some help. We desperately need aid. Desperately. My family and I, we was making our way to the Mercy camp for us refugees. We were set upon. My wife, my son were injured. Can't move them by myself. I had to leave them just past this tunnel so as I could go for help. But being alone is even more riskier. The Varachnids, I chased them off, but they'll be back. Please help us. Ain't nothing I can do for them, but you got weapon and medicines and can get us to the camp. Please. Of course there is. It's my family. They're hurt, dying. Thank you. Thank you. This way. This way.
That wasn't the song I was supposed to play.
Yeah, you know, he's leading you into an
I forgot
ambush.
to carry the one. And now a song from a composer predicted to have 3 well-liked melodies and become allergic to water this year.
Get him, boys!
Commander. Just this way.
Scrubbing scallywag. Arachnid drone level 1000.
Armed and ready. Reps tingling. All charged up.
Most of them. Go on, ask a vicar. A listener asks, how
Back
does
in business.
The intricacies are much too complex. That even the shallowest minded
Always have to illuminate. We start with a person's life equation, as determined from the extensive questionnaire they filled out at their nearest predictory. Then, we perform a standard surface integration of the equation, leading, of course, to the production of an undetermined constant. But by using a single data point from their life event list, we can assign a value to that constant, leading to a simple-to-use, simple-to-understand life prediction equation. We can use additional points to not only validate our model, but also to improve its predictive accuracy. and we can use the resulting integration to predict future life events. And there you go. I knew you'd understand. In fact, I predicted it. Until next time, keep your queries coming. If you're feeling anxious about what's next, just wait. Things to come have a way of constantly happening. The future is colliding with the present every moment.
Next up, well, the seers among you already know.
2.7 Kelvin, if truth be told. The very fact we found each other boggles the undisciplined mind. I can count on you, you can count on me. With a golden ratio, geometric harmony. When our theories are challenged, when we start on peer review, you can count on me, and I can count on you. Colleagues can be cold, but academia's always true. You taught me scientismic ways, even sis did not foresee. To heavenly bodies never had pressure, but fluids to 100 degrees.
Another refugee? All right, step forward. Just a moment. Allowing anyone into Matriarch's Mercy unprocessed will upset the precarious ratio of refugees to aid. We should have an opportunity for placement in approximately 7.85 days, presuming no unforeseen alterations. Ah, I seem to recollect one matching your description set for arrival. Pardon my slowing your ingress. It has been rather hectic of late. Welcome to Matriarch's Mercy. Rule number 1, no crowding. Rule number 2, avoid the exclusion zone. Our seer has predicted non-specific imminent danger.
Danger has never stopped me before. Step aside, you cautious peasant.
I thought the name was self-explanatory. Our seer predicted that a corner of the encampment is in terrible danger. Danger from what? Or when? Unclear. Stay away from it, and, in all probability, you won't have to find out. Safety and probability are incompatible. Eventually, nowhere will be safe, including here. Not at present, but according to our predictions, the creation of a third rule is likely, if not inevitable. Our predictions spring from the universal equation, the very numbers that guide the stars. Only a fool ignores probability, and we don't suffer fools around these parts. That's enough questions. Keep the line moving. You need anything, talk to Seer Wiley. He's in the lift building, straight through the settlement.
And now, constructually compelling yet categorically voracious statements.
I remember this place before the war. Functioning tramiculars. The peaceful silence of the canyons.
Do you believe Arcadia shall ever return to how it was? Do you believe Arcadia shall ever return to how it was?
I wish. The invaders, water defecting, no putting this sprat back into the can.
I swear, it's nigh on impossible to find decent animal remains in these parts.
No, Arcadia is doomed. Plain and simple.
If we factor for random elements offsetting certain key variables, upsetting the mock apple cart, as it were, we start to grasp the potential range of disruption. And then we solve for the... Apologies. Just catching up on a research assignment between queries. Yes? Did you need something? Typically, no. And it has been somewhat challenging focusing my concentration. The abbot felt a scientician operating in a conspicuous spot in the thoroughfare might be useful. An illustrative way for our guests to see how we operate. To show how the Crabble patties are made, as it were. That is, if the meat preparation involved a 90-step rate formula and a conflux of polynomial equations.
Of course.
I am also on hand to answer queries by providing data supporting our actions. Though perhaps due to my central location, 89.74% of the time, I am simply asked for directions. I am sure they bear any inconveniences with grace and dignity. I mean, the statistical jump correlated to residents within Matriarch's Mercy has some pretty compelling numbers. According to data, life inside shows a notable uptick in key relevant quality of life factors. Longevity, access to medicine, potable water. Life outside sees increased risk of starvation, inclement weather, and hostile xenofauna. Yes, indeed. Numbers are really against you out there. We have diverted internal resources to better meet demand in key areas. And I'm pleased to say that's led to a statistically significant 2.7% increase in refugee satisfaction. But if my data remains unconvincing, I suggest you inquire with Provisioner Plotnik inside the lift building. Simply tell her Archivist Widmark approves brief use of her time. Then back to it I shall get.
I know where Morton and Edward are. I don't know about Danzig. Or Dunzany.
Oh, try not to get too close. My sinuses are stuffed up, my ears are backed up, and my guts are gurgling up. I could burst at any moment. Every fluid from every orifice. So keep your distance.
You have questions, Vicar Magsaysay has informed answers, as evidenced by another installment of Ask a Vicar. A listener asks, why am I so...
Oh, you want me to keep sickness to myself? Is that it? Well, I refuse to give in to shame and fear. I've gotten sick at least a dozen times since we set up camp. Why, last week alone, I caught hack lung, sprat tongue, skinny teeth, and a rare case of mortified skull emergence. Figured I might as well get used to being sick. So I'm practicing for my next disease. It's gonna be a nasty one.
Much is left to come.
I think it's downright awful what's happened to these fine folks. But me especially. Sickness, malnutrition, spontaneous genetic disorders, it never ends. You too. Trust me, you don't want to catch this. Neither do I, for that matter.
How long are we meant to stay here?
Ask the Order. I'm not in the prediction business.
My soup is nutritionally calculated to sustain all bodily functions, but it could use a little salt.
Law. I haven't seen this many folks crammed together since recall libations night at the Thruster.
The
Smells
meaning
about
of
the same,
life is
too.
in merit. And we are the keepers of the equation. Apologies, outsider. As a vicar, I am usually tasked with guiding non-order lay people, such as yourself. Lately, the abbot has tasked me with the education of the refugees in our care. You are, of course, free to stay to be enlightened by my lecture, but I don't need an abacus to predict your path lies elsewhere. Well, if it's in the displaced's best interests, I imagine I can find a moment. Yes, I reckon I do have my ear to the grimy dirt floor of Matriarch's Mercy. I hear what common lay people are saying, and the wide array of bodily noises they make. Suppose I, more than any other member of the Order here, connect with non-scienticians. I've begun daily lectures, including practical advice on efficiently planning their days. I frequently launch into extended orations on everyone's favorite topic, math, and meticulously expatiate on our sex origins in the most rigorously pedantic detail. Oh, dear. I got ahead of myself, didn't I? That's an occupational hazard around here. As I'm sure you've read in recent dissertations doing the rounds, education has proven to have a 13.7% increase in overall quality of life. I am single-handedly making a difference here, with constructive pointers on efficient scheduling, lessons on order history, plus some mathematics for a little added razzle-dazzle. Perhaps some other time we can debate the theoretical complexities involved. But I fear I must get back to my duties. These laypersons won't enlighten themselves.
Yes, of course not.
What happened to this place? Matriarch's Mercy is no safer than the trenches.
Commander, you got a minute to talk? I got some thoughts on this situation with the refugees. The number of folks seeking refuge from the war is, well, it's beyond what I expected. And beyond what the Order is capable of handling, seems like. Antes may not be faring much better here, but we could at least find enough work for these folk to buy some food.
Present and future calculations. Though our current cordiality with Auntie's choice continues to hold, remain certain that every department stands united and ready should conflict recommence. Why simply recall the precision of our air defenses against low-flying craft, augmented by our Sears technology, combined with the deft skills of our exemplars. This keen partnership not only forced our rapacious rivals to drop supplies from high orbit, it sent their ground troops scampering into scattered lines.
You sure? The Order seems a whole lot more concerned with dazzling the populace with numbers than anything else. It's a tough situation, that's all I'm saying. But if the Order can't even manage tens of folk at their doorstep, they ain't gonna manage much better should they win the war.
Until next time, keep hail and mind your calculations. Unlike parallel lines, I hope someday will not.
Further beneficial content soon follows. This popular number has been
But nothing's ever really free, is it? I went through this myself when Auntie's Choice took over Tau Ceti. It took time to secure the merger, but once they did, we folk got the help we needed real quick. And all they wanted in return was the signing of an employment contract. Now, I ain't seeing any contracts in Matriarch's Mercy. So what is the Order actually gaining by doing this? In all my years, I ain't encountered many folk who would extend a hand and expect nothing in return. I mean, I'd not have asked for your help with my graft if I didn't have something to offer in exchange. Well, maybe I misjudged the Earth Directorate after all. Anyhow, if the Order is in fact helping these folk with no hidden aims, then, well, I'll be the first to admit that there might just be merit in what they're selling. Appreciate you hearing me out.
we go now? Another refugee camp? Another colony?
I predict, with an 8.23 margin of error, that our situation will improve in time.
Stop it with the predictions. You don't even know multivariable calculus.
Just trying to cheer you up.
You can take the formula's derivative, or use square roots of numbers that are negative. Complexity is partially no need for fear. The concept isn't very scary. Complexity is partially
By the law. It's you. Oh, thank the architect you're finally here. I've scarcely breathed while hoping you'd come. I am in desperate need of your help.
Shh, trade now, talk later.
True, but the Order's predictions know you better than you know yourself. Recently, I had a rare opportunity to ask the Seer for guidance. He told me that a dashing outsider would answer my prayers. I feared the prediction was a fluke, but here you are. A dashing outsider standing before me.
There's three of us.
Strictly speaking, it isn't. Not yet. But the math is very, very, very good at predicting what is probably most likely extremely possible. In theory. Within a margin of error. Anyway, that is the Seer's business. My business is the health and welfare of this camp. Where to begin? There are so many sick and wounded in Matriarch's Mercy, and I have but 2 imperfect hands. I am but a humble general practitioner. What I really need are specialists, and the Seer predicted an outsider would find them.
Might have time to patch up 1 or 2 patients before we head out. I used to be a combat medic. A good one, too.
You also strike me as someone on the go. I need committed medical employees, not a freelancer. The Seer gave me a datapad with explicit instructions that I not read it, for my intervention could only throw probability into disarray. Now, take the datapad, with my thanks.
Let's read the Seer's prediction.
But no one knows everything yet. Have another inquiry about our order you're bursting to ask? Relay your query at your local predictory post haste. Stay tuned for what follows. Avid followers of our predictive playlists are already aware of which song follows. Interested in receiving our weekly selection of mathematical clues?
There's a taxidermist in your camp.
Local predictory.
Probability and the grand plan. There can be no discussion of the grand plan without also entertaining a deep contemplation of probability. Our ability to predict events to varying degrees of certainty is fundamentally rooted in statistical mathematics. Statistics, at its heart, is not but data. Data that is gathered, collated, and subjected to analysis. But what is the role of chance in that analysis? Let's look at the interpretation of pure chance. If one flips a perfectly balanced coin, it will land on heads.
Okay, before we go in, guys, let's go back outside real quick and go talk to the taxidermist that we saw before. Whoops.
Are there
Hey, an
really
auto
2
dock.
outcomes?
All right.
Is there not one specific outcome we can determine? Yes.
Come on.
With complete information,
The grand plan is the predetermined order to the entire universe.
Complete information yields perfect predictions. 100% accuracy.
How do you do, stranger? Always nice to see a friendly face around Matriarch's Mercy. Though it's a pity I can't lend more aid to our downtrodden collective. I'm just a humble taxidermist.
Is known to be heads. Is it necessary to flip the coin? Would it not be more efficient to simply go for
More than whoever butchered your friend. Do you need any touch-ups on that appendage?
Not unless you think a pair of glass eyes and glued-on antlers will help. Sorry.
But something tells me you didn't come to talk shop. What's this about, Agent? Am I in trouble?
less than complete information are we reduced to chance? At present,
What? Me? No, no, no. Listen, friend. A little skill with needle and thread does not make me a qualified medical professional.
values and standard deviations, which lead to the dreaded sigma of probability distributions. By necessity, we are forced to estimate outcomes based on assumed distributions of sample populations. Such a travesty.
What a cheerful thought. Have it your way, then. I know when I'm being voluntold. But you better make it worth my while. Before I agree to anything, I need sprat corpses. Several. And no victims of violence, please. My art depends on the quality of the sleeve.
Brings us closer to our goal, to the solving of the universal equation.
I used to source all of my sprats from a local trapper, Frankie Billings. No idea if she's still in business. Word has it she's out north in Auntie's Choice territory, so watch yourself.
Lead to tragedies. We must not guess. We must know. Help us know.
Fresh being the operative word. My thanks, stranger.
To our proud archivists. And you too can say you contributed to the archive.
Oh, well, that didn't go as easy as I expected it would.
Welcome. Have you come to bask in the Elder's knowledge?
As determined, you're listening to Grand Plan Wireless for transpiring events, philosophical profundities, informed insight into the future, also music. Ready to have your mind enlightened and your day embrightened? It's time for another installment of Ask a Vicar with Vicar Magsaysay. Oh, here's a question from a new pupil, freshly converted from Auntie's Choice. Did presiding...
Watch yourself if you intend to nose around that collapsed ramshackle. I swear, refugee settlements aren't what they used to be.
The succinct answer is
Yes, technically a hut is meant to be only one story. Because when you stack them, they tend to fall over. Happens a lot. People here need more room to breathe. Can't build in the walkways, can't set up in the exclusion zone. So they build up. Best they can, at least. Don't have proper building material or nothing. They just make do. After a while, the stacked up little huts they jury-rigged come tumbling down.
presiding bishop has approached an error dispersion exceeding 5 sigma, a level of calculation superior to all
Oh, you put that together, did you? Here, I thought I was being subtle. Yeah, people keep at it. What else choice they have? Order won't listen. Maybe if we interspersed our requests with numbers, they'd pay attention. Seems like all they care about sometimes.
The following song mentions some actions that are improper, something your fractions should never be.
We were once two separate boys. We had no connection till the age of the order gave us no direction. Then we were parallel lines traveling in
You're right. The universe does not orient itself toward fairness. But it's my firm belief humanity can do better.
Ah, I've pleasantly anticipated this exact moment. My personalized order prediction and weekly prognostics report both mentioned encountering an unforeseen factor about now. I suppose that designation doesn't wholly apply to you, though, does it? Predicting future events is an imprecise science. Currently, that is. Well, then, I read that you'd have questions about our predictive methods, correct? We utilize a mix of proprietary research methods to gather as complete a data set as possible and advanced calculations using well-honed models to effectuate it. None of us predict events with complete accuracy or absolute detail. We'd need to solve the universal equation to do that. Fortunately, we're all working very hard on that problem. The Department of Predictive Analysis provide weekly prognostics reports and personalized order predictions to help steer our followers' paths. More what to watch out for, advisement on adhering to the plan, forecasts of probabilistic dangers, elements of larger predictions made relevant to groups and individuals. The Department of Predictive Analysis is mainly populated by seers like myself, who represent the Order's most talented mathematicians. After years of study, some can predict events a few seconds or minutes into the future with reasonable precision. Others can estimate with up to 71.1% accuracy several months out. Of course, predictions have grown more difficult with the loss of the archive, but I am not to speak of that with an outsider. No offense.
You have tuned your receiver to Grand Plan Wireless. We verify before...
Unforeseen factors, random elements, anomalous outliers, incalculable variables, all of them can undercut the accuracy of our predictions. But as we close in on solving the universal equation, unknown unknowns will become known unknowns. Then finally, known knowns. You follow? Matriarch's Mercy is brimming beyond capacity with those cast out by war. But we of the Order rise to every challenge and continually strive to better our guests' existence. Why, I, for instance, have availed my predictive methods to our refugee neighbors in the area. There's nothing more practical than improving lives now, is there? We've offered the displaced access to our weekly prognostics reports and personalized order predictions. Engagement is admittedly rather low, but at least one member of the camp reports he has benefited from them greatly. One of our recent guests, Rollo Nast, has received multiple personalized order predictions. I believe he could speak to the effectiveness of our ways firsthand. If my own humble assertions are not enough, I trust his attestations would convince you, and perhaps other members of the displaced as well. I foresee you have much to do. I won't keep you. Adieu.
Wow, that's a wicked looking outfit. Order Intercessor.
Ah, you must be the, Earth Directorate agent I was told to expect. Your punctuality is commendable. Allow me to welcome you to Golden Ridge. I'm afraid I've no refreshments available, but can I interest you in a customary debate over decidability? Sensible. Straight to business, then. The presiding bishop sent word of your imminent arrival. However, pursuant to our normal standards of compartmentalization, she was scant on the details of your mission. That said, I've been instructed to assist you however I can. So, tell me, what brings you to Golden Ridge? Since losing access to the archive, the Order has been forced to limit its open exchange of ideas and information to avoid contaminating what few predictions we can still make.
We don't use that word, prophecy. Our predictions are strictly a matter of mathematical calculation. But in layman's terms, that is the objective. Yes.
The archive is a vast network of computational machines built beneath the ice of Cloister. Prior to the invasion, the Order used it to generate predictions on a vast scale. But listen to me prattling on. I'm sure you aren't here for a history lesson. Victor? Oh, yes, Archivist Clemens. Quite the mind. Such encyclopedic knowledge of engineering. One could almost mistake him for an exemplar. Is he in some kind of trouble?
Your thorough appreciation of that song was considered a probabilistic survey.
Victor Clemens, some kind of radical. What an absurd notion.
I must agree with my seer. I once watched Victor shed copious tears over a damaged datapad. It's difficult to imagine him capable of worse. And that may well be true. But our standard of proof within the Order is not normally met by hearsay alone. Victor's currently supervising highly experimental research at one of our labs to the northwest, the Enray Range, beyond the invaders' front lines. Unfortunately, you'll need to go through the decommissioned autonomous extractorium to reach it. That path is less than safe, so I advise caution. Besides the highly caustic Zeranium River and the Mantisaurs, we've also received reports of mad cultists in the area. It does make me wonder why Victor decided to stay. Rift worshippers spouting inane theories. They began showing up prior to the invasion. The first sign of dysfunction in the Protectorate always starts small, doesn't it? Loath as I am to admit it, there may be some merit to your worries over a conspiracy within the Order, whether Victor is involved or not. As my predecessor would remind me, denying unpleasant facts is not good science. I would be remiss if I failed to support an investigation. No doubt you heard of the recent attack launched on that Anti's Choice base, Outpost Opportunity. It came from one of our facilities, the Zeranium Manufactory. But that facility is intended for research, not military action. I hate thinking an Order member responsible, but given the precision of the attack, it does suggest traitors in our midst. It would undoubtedly benefit both of us to root them out.
Respectfully, Scholar, given current tensions, should we really be trusting such a delicate task to this stranger? Would an internal review of our ranks not be more appropriate? Choosing levity at a moment like this is only further evidence of your lack of good judgment.
I don't dispute the need for discretion, my friend, but the presiding bishop made the determination to send the agent to us. It's best we trust her calculations. Moreover, our situation is growing increasingly dire. I can't overstate my fears concerning this most recent attack ending the ceasefire and reigniting the war in Golden Ridge. One more thing. Your investigation into the traitors takes precedence, but if you could also render aid at Outpost Opportunity on our behalf, such a gesture might preserve the peace. Most assuredly not. It would eliminate the entire point of the ceasefire. Please convey that fact to whomever you speak with. I knew I could rely upon you. Ruth wouldn't have sent you otherwise. Here, take this writ of investigative inquiry. It'll grant you access to the manufactory. Seer Wiley and I will conduct our own inquest into these traitors you've mentioned erstwhile. We can compare notes once you've returned with your findings.
Can't talk. Calculating an inverse complex sine function in my head.
This is Grand Plan Wireless, broadcasting soothing tunes for your audio canal and enriching content for your cerebral cortex around the chronometer until we achieve ascension. For those of you away in the field or heads down in research during our last shared learning symposium, we offer the following rescreening of Vicar Magsaysay's presentation.
Welcome to Zeranium and You, a brief accounting of this crucial material. Though minute amounts were first discovered in the Beta Draconis system, Zeranium wasn't found in significant quantities until the terraforming of Cloister and Eden.
You know, you strike me as someone with a very small body of published work.
Inhabitants of the system.
Have you beheld that new rifle up at the monastery, the Oracle? The one Wiley designed, right? Uses a tracking algorithm, never misses.
Hope you appreciated how I bit my tongue back there with the abbot. Didn't want things to come to blows with civilians in the crossfire. Full of excuses for the attack, wasn't he? Could be that he's sincere. Or could be that he has his hands so full with keeping his community from falling apart that he missed a memo or two. Either way, I'm willing to stay my hand until we know the truth. If it were my folk buried under the rubble, I'd want to know for certain before acting. Besides, ain't nobody around here better suited for investigating than we are.
Zeranium powers everything from laboratories and outposts to craft and weaponry comparatively safely and at a greater input to output ratio than any other known form of fuel. In closing,
I prefer doing my shooting after asking all the pertinent questions, Commander. While we're at it playing detective, we need to scope out opportunity. If there are any survivors, we ought to help, however we're able. I can only hope they had warning enough to run for cover. If they didn't, well, there's only so much basic training can prepare you for. Thank you, Commander. We should move on, unless you've got something for me? We need to help the folk at Opportunity, Commander. Void the abbot. He's more concerned with exonerating his own than with making things right.
Every scientician yearns to visit the archive on Cloister. One day...
Do you believe Arcadia shall ever return?
take warning. Recent reports note a sporadic outbreak of belligerent zealots characterized as having outbreaks.
How are you still upright over there? Ready to wait. On your command.
Back in
forces at work
business.
in this lab, which might only render these zealots all the more unpredictable and dangersome. Unfortunately, given the current state of Golden Ridge infrastructure, we cannot verify the N-Ray Range's status without crossing through or over our decommissioned autonomous extractorium. A perilous trek even under the best of circumstances. Stay cautious out there, fellow Ascendants.
End message with an emphatic sign-off such as, "You'll never be sad when you have solutions." Oh, that apparently was a note to self, not to be read aloud.
And now, additional data and/or music determined to facilitate cognition. And now, more music to perform advanced calculations by.
Stranger, the Order bids you welcome, but also warnings. In light of the recent attack on Auntie's Choice, you may want to make haste to Matriarch's Mercy. It's just down the road here.
So it was one of our bases that got hit. Oh, I'm gonna be sick.
I can't rightly say, and that is rather concerning in its own right. It seems our temporary ceasefire with the corporatists may be at its end. Yes, this was an active war zone until recently, and now seems like it may be so again. Not quite certain why the attack was launched, but that is not under my purview. I'd surmise that when Auntie's Choice realized they couldn't get through our defensive measures, they wisely chose the path of diplomacy. Seems I was mistaken.
Well, it weren't our artillery that made that strike. I can tell you that much.
They must have done something to provoke an attack, which is why your safest path now is the one that leads to Matriarch's Mercy. The Order controls everything south of this point, but the rest is beset with various dangers. Zealots, scavengers, creatures, and corporatists. Well, not certain about that last one anymore after the attack. Yep, mad to the last one. People will turn to anything to ease their discomfort during times of crisis, I suppose. They're both unstable and violent. Auntie's forces call them scrappers, and uses them for just that, gathering scrap materials. Excessive abuse of stimulants has made them severely unbalanced and prone to violence. They've also been known to pose as refugees, to lure their victims into ambushes. There are several camps of them northwest of here. I'd strongly advise keeping your distance. The creatures are of the genus Verachnid. They are large enough to kill a full-grown human, and exceedingly willing to do so.
May all your endeavors elicit expected results.
I don't see anything else coming. Was it just the one?
listening to Grand Plan Wireless, Arcadia's voice of reason. Welcome to another installment of Ask a Vicar with Vicar Magsai. A recent inquiry: why do I hear order product advertisements from the same voices denouncing Auntie's Choice rampant commercialism?
Good question. I'd say the place we differ most from our consumerist rivals is, well, our overall philosophy. The way we view everything. They believe in profit above all else, while we strive for the ascendance of all humanity through the solution of the universal equation. The difference could hardly be greater. So, while we might share methods from time to time, such as the distribution of goods in our case, to help others ascend to greater heights, we could hardly be more dissimilar.
Do you have an inquiry about our order you're bursting to ask? Drop us a message at your local predictory.
If you're feeling anxious about what's next, just wait. Things to come have a way of constantly happening. The future is colliding with the present every moment.
The following song has been determined to facilitate abstract thinking and constructive rumination.
Especially when it uses a different ammo than all the others.
Function f to the n equaling our starting zen. Function fn minus 1 plus the fn minus 2. In all cases that we know, starting where n is so low. Now you know just what to do. Start the cycle, here's the cue. It's Fibonacci, a sequence largely summing to preceding numbers, gives us math that brings us wonders. Define the recurrence relation, get us to sequence summation. It's Fibonacci from Liber Abaci. Gazing upon the golden spiral, a part that's quite so vital, arcing in a circle motion, giving squares perfect quotient. 0, 1, 1, and again 2, 3, 5, and 8, and then 13, 21, not 2, 34, we're counting through.
What do you think about? You bring about the only
It's Fibonacci, a sequence largely. It's Fibonacci from Liber Abaci. The Fibonacci sequence is a sequence in which each number is the sum of the two preceding ones. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 1, 44, and so on and so forth. Sequence summation, coming through, receiving numbers, with us math that brings us wonders. Define the recurrence relation, get us to sequence summation. It's Fibonacci from Liber Abaci.
And now, constructually compelling yet categorically voracious statements regarding products researched and designed to increase energy, efficiency, creativity. song from a composer predicted to have 3 well-liked melodies and become allergic to water this year.
I get the sense you ain't too fond of Auntie's choice. Any reason why?
Maybe on account of them being a giant, malignant corporate entity. Reminds me of the one I grew up under. And that ain't a compliment.
I grew up under a corporation like Auntie's too, Niles. You ain't the only one with a sob story.
Then you might ought to know better than to throw in with Annie's. They're just like those bit-pinching bastards on Triangle. If the Earth Directorate hadn't stepped in.
Well, there you have it. The Earth Directorate saved you, huh? Sure as shit didn't save us.
No, suppose not. But you've got choices now. Time for excuses is past.
Don't you look down your nose at me. Any sane folk would throw their lot in with the ones who help them. Not those who deliberately look the other way. How's your own loyalty to the Earth Directorate treated you all this time? I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
Kids.
Perhaps it would be advantageous to... Do you have a specific matter requiring discussion with me that cannot be postponed? I'm rather preoccupied at the moment. That's not... Yes, your assessment is absolutely accurate. Making a final decision over what to prioritize in the construction of this trench, given my current resources, has been a substantially more difficult task than I first estimated. Correct. In this case, standardized algorithms, which includes a Poisson distribution method, using the data we accrued from years of tracking the frequency of different attacks. Unfortunately, I find myself in the extremely unlikely and distressing position of having these algorithms inform me that every type of attack is exactly equally probable, and thus my dilemma. Many, unfortunately. Auntie's human soldiery, raptidons, mantisaurs, scrappers, and even wild arachnids. In summary, many and varied. Well, that's good advice. I can tell by simply observing you that your combat experience is considerable. I'll take that under advisement before making a final decision. Perhaps it would be advantageous to... No, that won't function optimally. Or we could... Not that they could play Manosaurus, we could better serve the other way
Please, don't distract me from my more...
I've got your numeral. Keep moving.
Also, he chose to sit there. I can't take magnet.
I've observed you in these trenches before. You are aware this is a war zone, correct?
Halt! What is your destination? Leaving with that heading will bring you in direct contact with the forces of Auntie's choice.
Attention, freelancer, you are currently heading into Next, the latest field data validating or repudiating our forecasts and relevant informational details for near present and future calculations. Fellow esteemed members of the Order of the Ascendant allocated to Golden Ridge, as foreseen, recent conflicts between the Protectorate, Auntie's Choice, and ourselves have resulted in notable detrimental effects throughout this region, including but not limited to the loss of Fort Endurance, disabling of the tramicular, and a 17.9% reduction in effective sleep cycles per evening. But before you succumb to a sense of malaise that undermines cognitive function, take heart from these additional, sharply contrasting data points. Our efforts deciphering the universal equation remain unabated. Extraction continues at Zeranium Manufacturer 7, as does research at the N-Ray Range. Remember, just as our calculations allow for a predictable range of error, so do we. Our work continues.
Now do carry on. And as always, anticipate and calculate.
Further beneficial content soon follows. Avid followers of our predictive playlists are already aware of which song follows. Interested in receiving our weekly selection of mathematical clues? Visit your local predictory.
The color of space. Chromospectral analysis.
Wait.
When asked about
Halt.
the average color
Access to that area of this trench line has been restricted to authorized personnel only. It isn't safe, given the rift activity.
New experience wielding astronomers. His answer was the expected
Halt.
one.
Access to that area of this trench line has been restricted to authorized personnel only. It isn't safe, given the rift activity.
Wouldn't the average color be black or white, or simply a shade of gray?
Already been that one.
No. No, it would not.
The answer is rooted in the science of how hot
If you're here to help, then you should be aware that we've all been placed on standby after that last attack.
Why there are no green stars.
I mean, the last attack that
To
was
understand
launched.
this, you must understand the basics of thermal divarication emission theory.
Careful one. Impressive. Their personalized order prediction must have been quite favorable to inspire such confidence.
Including light, infrared, and radio emissions. And the matter reflects only a small portion of that radiation. The visible part of that reflection is its color. However, most stellar objects generate far more radiation than they absorb, so they can be modeled as an idealized object, which is assumed to absorb 100% of all electromagnetic radiation and re-emit some based on its temperature and composition. Stellar composition determines what packets of light will be emitted, while stellar temperature determines the frequency of light and hence what portion of the spectrum that light is in. Low temperature emission is mostly infrared and not visible to us without proper instrumentation, which I need not describe here. As the stellar body's temperature increases, its emitted light shifts up into visible light, through red, into orange, then yellow, then white. Even rare blue stars exist. These are the hottest stars, emitting mostly blue and invisible ultraviolet light. So why are there no green stars, you wonder? I would think the listeners could easily draw this trivial conclusion for themselves, but if I must... It's because any star emitting green light also emits bluish and or reddish light too, resulting in a non-green star. There is no naturally occurring stellar composition that emits solely packets of green light. In fact, such a composition itself would constitute evidence for intelligent interference. And no such evidence of any kind has ever been detected. Let's get back to Newton Odescard, the famous stellar cartographer. The methodology of the Odescard's chromospectral survey was straightforward. He partitioned his astronomical field of view into grids, then tagged each object in every grid. He ignored empty regions, as black would only dim the color and not change its fundamental hue. The light from every galaxy, star, nebula, and quasar was gathered and put in a central tabulator for computation. The subsequent spectral analysis produced a final answer to within 0.5% of the predicted value. And that result was beige. More specifically, in the cylindrical coordinate model of color space, the hue is 42 degrees, while the saturation is a mere 9%, and the value is a full 100%. In more novice terms, while the color tends towards white, the addition of a variety of reds and some blues results in a more beige tone. And there you have it. So go forth, neophytes, and as you study your lessons, stare at the nondescript walls of your library, classroom, or dormitory facility, and exult in the knowledge that beige is also the color of the universe.
Broadcasting cognitive resonance across Arcadia, this is Grand Plan Wireless. Exactly at the predicted hour, it's another installment of Ask Vicar with Vicar Magsaysay. A listener asks, who was the charismatic mathematician?
Look alive, Commander.
Thus,
Brilliant increment. Elusive. No one knows his true name, which is lost in the mathematician.
Raring to go.
Mathematics. His lectures usually sends him tears and look forward to new insights. The subject outside the scope of his question. You must respect the process wishes to know what the charismatic mathematician actually taught, simply ask. Now we'll answer in a later installment of Ask a Vicar.
Keep put. Much is left to come. Consistency in your work is wonderful. Consistency in playlists is not. For a new song.
This is Chief Quidley, recording with the intent of registering this most unusual sequence of events and securing their serial wave rights. Recently, we reckoned it'd be a hoot to hack a captured order terminal, use it to heckle them. Instead, we wound up chinwagging. And turns out we have much in common. They're bored, we're bored, and everyone got sick of trench living months ago. Next thing you know, we're getting together for brews and a wave of their knockoff sport, pitchball. And where there's booze involved, there's betting. And while those order folk are scary data smart, they can't see the angles if they're big as a ship and bright as a hollow ad. They just see stats and percents. And don't get how spunk, moxie, and being due play into it. I thought hustling games with 6 caps was the easiest way to make bits. Not no more.
A measure of history. On nails the key to logic, say symmetry. How can that be? How can that be? Irrationality. One thing that you must irrationality is a part of our progress. Can that be? Using heart, another without it. Evokes a result. Worked in the dividend. Accepting. And you can play these. Positive externality. A positive externality. One thing you can play these. Accepted. In this industry, can it be? A positive externality. One thing, the irrational term accepted. In the calculation, can it be? Can result in explanations. How can that be? How can that be? How can that be?
As determined, your and Plan Wireless for transpiring events, philosophical profundities, informed insight into the future, also music. Because reason never goes out of season, it's time for another administration of Relatable Enlightenment with Ask a Vicar, featuring Vicar Magsaysay. Focus on quantity over qualitative analysis with an accelerated round of brief layperson inquiries, starting with, does the Order know the outcome?
Of course we do. But such knowledge cannot be shared with the general public or broadcast over the ether. Such an action would shift the equation into new modes. It might introduce ancillary expressions that would invalidate our original solution. The mention of these topics risks catastrophic, predeterminative discontinuity. Let's move on.
A listener asks, can I learn how to make predictions about my own life?
Yes, calamitous query. In no uncertain terms, you must never calculate your own personal life equation. The equation necessarily requires bijective isometry. Such a class of parametric mappings must be made by an objective third-party order member to assure non-arbitrary orthogonality. Make an appointment at your nearest predictory as soon as possible.
Yes, Vicar. Because research shows the listener attention falters after a series of 3 items, here is our third and final question. My where did she go?
She's dead. Okay, great query and answer session, everyone. As your plain-speaking, relatable vicar, I'm always happy to fill your day with 2.5% practical knowledge.
Stay tuned for what follows. Next up, well, the seers among you already know.
Generating primes, techniques, and uses. Good day and welcome again to Advanced Abstract Algebraics, Section 4, Session 43. Please continue to enjoy the background music, which I have selected today based on its arithmetic-based harmonic progressions. My name is Edmund Vandersmeyer, and I am the Senior Tenured Laureate of the Tertiary Adjunct School of Numismatics for the Order of the Ascendant. Today's lecture will focus on the generation of prime numbers, techniques, and uses thereof. I know. Prime numbers? Why so simplistic? Well, consider this a basic refresher course in remedial numismatics.
Hold your fire!
New to the order. I will start by explaining what a prime number is, despite
my tailbone.
decades ago, while still in diapers. But no matter. I have been called many things, and repetitious is one of them. I have also been called redundant several times. And once I was called reiterative, if you can believe that. So...
Thought I was safe after avoiding that blast. Fire!
The simplest
Did you just come through an active war zone? Your puzzler's screwed on crooked? Careful.
Then a prime is any number in the set N2 that is not itself a product of 2 other numbers in the set N2. A simple definition. Elegant, even. Uplifting. Almost ascendant, you could say. But not redundant. Side note, I am frequently asked why isn't 1 a prime number since nothing can divide it other than itself? And the answer is simple, you silly lay person. Because with such an inclusion to the definition of a prime number, then nothing else would be a prime number. And then what good are prime numbers? Wait, you ask, what good are prime
How's the scavenging out there? Anything
Why would
juicy?
we want to find and use prime numbers? There are all kinds of abstract number theory applications, and that should and would be sufficient reason to want them. But there are also, or should I say, practical applications, such as maintaining the security of bit cartridges. In fact, our archive uses primes for that reason and many more. The archive incorporates prime numbers in storage and retrieval on its ultra-efficient system of data bricks, as well as using prime numbers in the process of checking its memory stores for corruption, lest its calculations be tainted by such. But if you strive to become a numismatics researcher, there are several open questions in the area of prime number study. One such question is this: is every even member of the set N2 besides 2 a sum of 2 primes? It seems to be so. But no one has ever proven this conjecture. Similarly, are there an infinite number of prime pairs that differ by only 2 in their value? That seems unlikely, but we have been unable to find an upper limit. Perhaps you could discover one of these.
How do you eat Purpleberry Crunch? Real warriors eat it right from the box.
That's a lot of casualties. Our medics ain't equipped for this. Not even close.
Okay, and that's the point where I'm gonna stop for the night. Alright, so thanks class for popping in. Anybody else who might have stopped through? Have a good one. Catch you next time.